My name is Alex Chitty. I'm from Miami, Florida. I was born in Little Havana, but I've lived in Chicago the last 12 years. And I work as a sculptor and also a photographer. I work kind of the idea is what informs the medium that I use. So I do a lot of welding, woodworking, ceramics. I used to think that life was this accumulative thing where you would gather and swell and grow and you just learn more and get like plump. And then recently I met a man who works in marble who makes headstones for graves. I just started thinking that perhaps I was wrong and that maybe it's like the opposite, that you reduce and distill and you kind of like chip away the parts you don't need. So that's a real basic thought. That from that I've been working on a series of wall pieces that are sculptural but kind of exist also in image form using objects and photographs. I thought I was going to work on something else before I got here. And then of course the environment and the materials and the tools that are available shifted my project, and I just decided to do what I've been wanting to do for a long time, which is just see what happens if you let go a little bit. Started the wall pieces with seeking out wood, and I found because of this idea of things sort of carrying history and becoming one thing and then shifting back into another, I wanted to find used wood or reclaimed wood rather than new stuff. And then parcel and piece together objects that I carried here from Chicago in my car with things that I'm specifically seeking out, either on eBay, lots of eBay seeking late at night. I have a similar piece where I use wood slats as kind of the furniture background for objects and images. And I showed it to my uncle, who also used to make things and work with furniture, and he said, "Oh, it's lovely. How does it work?" And I thought, that's so cool, because it's working, but he wanted the function to come forward. My parents are British, and we grew up with, my grandfather ran a furniture making company, and so I think a lot about furniture and our relationship to it and how much time I spend with my couch versus how much time I spend with my mother. And we had these Staffordshire dogs, these ceramic Staffordshire dogs that would sort of bracket the mantelpiece. And they're kind of terrifying, like really weird eyes that stare too long. And in the last year, I had become unimpressed with kind of both the countries that I was affiliated with, and I wanted to think about the backside of those dogs, that if they had turned their back on me, what was it that I would see? And I was also thinking about the photographic front of things, how things get flattened out into images, and you're like, yeah, totally, I've seen that. And you haven't. You've looked on your computer and you've seen a photograph that someone has doctored for you to see. So thinking about those kinds of things, and then I had to take the object, make a mold, make a rubber mold, make a plaster mold, then make a plaster cast, then make a plaster mold, and then do ceramic press molds out of that. And I'm trying to learn a little bit about how they came into the world too, because it is a really industrial process that we kind of inherited from Eastern traditions of working with china and porcelain. Now they're considered more valuable than they were at the time, in part because there's less of them, because they break. There's something also about the duality of the dogs being able to bracket things that I like. But I guess one of the things I'm really impressed with that humans can do is look at matter, look at something that's right in front of them, and then you have the ability to imagine something completely different than what they're looking at. And so I'm trying to use objects in a way that will allow for that moment to happen in the process of looking. A lot of what I'm doing is just being very careful about the way things are held and presented and displayed, so that we get hints that we're looking at what we're looking at, but we're also being asked to think about something beyond the actual object that's there in front of us.